You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Ladies Lounge. Hope everybody is doing well. So you know, of course, I have a special sermon coming up for all of you today. So we're going to be getting into the congregation momentarily. But first, before we go into the sermon, I wanted to start off my segment with what I would like to call word on the curve. Okay, so every once in a while I'm going to be doing word on the curve segment, and it's just basically a brief discussion in which I discuss a current events, celebrity news, celebrity gossip, you know, anything that I heard on the curve, you know, any word from the curve, anything that I get, any type of news or any type of, you know, gossip, you know, that is where I take a small piece of my segment to relay the information to you, because a lot of times I be getting access to all type of information, whether if it's celebrity, whether it's political, you know, and a lot of times I'm like, I would like to inform, you know, a lot of you about it. And I know it's so many bloggers that are already doing media coverage, you know, celebrity gossip, you know, it's very overly saturated in the blogging, but that is something that I'm going to be doing every so often. But for the most part, I am going to keep everything the same as I have always kept it. Okay, so I don't want nobody to think I'm switching gears. I'm going to stop doing my sermons and just do straight celebrity gossip and all of that. No, we got plenty of wonderful sisters in blogging who do a damn good, wonderful job and giving y'all all the celebrity gossip, all the tea, you know. So I don't need to really, you know, switch lanes in that area, but I will, you know, run the block a time or two and put y'all on with some of the things, some of the information that I be getting, because I don't always have time to post it in my community tab. So this is my first word on the curve, celebrity gossip, celebrity tea segment of the show. So the first thing I want to share with y'all is congrats are in order for Nelly and Ashanti. Okay, if y'all did not know, I've always been fans of both of these two, and I've always been, especially I've always admired their relationship, and there's a difference between idolizing and couples goals, as they would say. You know, I never put them on a pedestal like that, but for whatever reason I've always liked these two together, because Ashanti has always been this humble, pretty, beautiful woman who we've seen blossom from a young lady into a full-grown woman, and full-grown is definitely looking good on her. She's beautiful, her body is still banging, and Ashanti has had her share of ups and downs in the industry, you know, being signed to 𝓜𝓸𝓬𝓱𝓪'𝓼, the stuff that he took her, as well as other artists under his label Murder Inc. through, was like another Diddy survival situation. Okay, so 𝓜𝓸𝓬𝓱𝓪'𝓼 had blackballed Ashanti within the industry, but nevertheless she kept going strong, and this was long even after, when her and Nelly were separated and no longer together. Now you have to realize, Nelly and Ashanti, when they did get together, they was very, very young when they first started out. I remember being in high school, okay, when Nelly and Ashanti was together. We talking about 98, 97 in our ballpark. So you could only imagine the mindset of the both of them during that time. It was like a lot of immaturity, a lot of childishness. I'm not with none of the guys that I was dating, during that time either, okay? I was not even talking to the man I'm married to in that time frame because, when you're young, you're about going out partying, having a good time, especially when you don't have no responsibilities, you have no children. You just go through doing you. You get what I'm saying? So, a lot of people constantly, like to bring up the things that Nelly has done in the past and the things that Ashanti has done, but people are not understanding they were kids. It was puppy love at the time. Now, granted, she was with him for 10 years. That was still not enough time, as much as we would like to unrealistically think that, for them to really mature and grow up. And you have to realize, in the industry, growing up is even more of a challenge because you bring a lot of childish ways with you into the industry. But I'll say, back in the day, Nelly was a wild boy. He was a wild boy. He just was, he had just been signed. He had a popping career being a rapper from St. Louis. He definitely put St. Louis on a map, as well as Chingy and a couple of other guys, from the St. Louis area. So Nelly got into the industry very young, and when you get into the industry young and you have access to all of these monies, these cars, then eventually comes the women. So of course, in that process, he met Ashanti, and one thing led to another. However, because he was in boy mode and wasn't a full-grown man at that time, he brought a lot of, disrespect to the relationship. And supposedly, allegedly, Ashanti was dating other guys, and Nelly found out about it, and of course this ate at his ego, because he's used to being a player, he's used to running things. So they both pretty much jerked each other around, regardless of whose side you want to pick and choose. When you young like that, you don't know what it takes to make a relationship work. And again, it's even more of a challenge when you're in the industry, because I know one of the biggest problems that Nelly did mention in her interview, when he did admit that him and Ashanti was back together, was that the difference in this time compared to back then was that there wasn't a lot of pressure this particular time, because they're older now. Their careers have somewhat slowed down, so they don't have a lot of people in their ear, their entourage, people who used to hang around them, people who were friends and things of that nature. A lot of these people have drifted off. Ashanti and Nelly, their lives totally had changed since then. So, of course, we seen that infamous walk at Versus with Ja Rule and Joe, and seeing them all come together, former Murder Inc. artists, as well as I think it's called the Terror Squad, with Remy Ma and Joe and all of them. So anyway, fate just had it in mind that it was meant to be, and Nelly was performing coincidentally the same night Ashanti was. Neither one of them was aware that it was in the cards that they were going to meet that night. Now, however, intentionally, Ja Rule and Joe intentionally set it up for both of them to perform without one knowing that the other would be there. So, for those of you who don't know, Joe and Ja Rule, they've always been like big brothers to Ashanti. So they've been kind of, low key, eavesdropping between her and Nelly, trying to put one on what the other's doing. And Ja Rule told Ja Rule told Ashanti, Nelly's single now. Have y'all ever considered getting back? And Joe comes in, and they all went on a live at this time. It was Joe, Ja Rule, Ashanti, and Remy Ma. And they're trying to throw hints, at Ashanti, letting her know, hey, Nelly's single, what is a possibility y'all might link up again. And of course Joe was like, do you want that old thing back? Do you want that old thing? And Ashanti, being a woman that's always pretty much been guarded and private, she's like, nah, yeah, he may be single, but I'm not, which we all found out was a lie. But I guess that was her way of protecting herself, from not making it seem as if she's readily available, which righteously so. So all of that led to this point in which Nelly and Ashanti have rekindled their romance. They've been everywhere together, going on tours together, traveling on tour buses, going on flights, you name it. The chemistry is like it never died. It just picked back up where it left off. So obviously these two had way more feelings for each other than what they were willing to admit or even realize. The chemistry is very magnetic. Nelly came in town and gave a surprise Ashanti with a surprise birthday party, had her matching bracelet and necklace that cost thousands, and she also ended up returning the favor when it was his birthday and brought him a new car, a new Impala. Well, it was a classic Impala, but she put $100,000 worth of work in it. So basically, when these two got back together, they went spoiling each other like crazy. All right, so everybody who hasn't been keeping up, they're thinking Ashanti spent all this money on Nelly, and Nelly just spent all his money on Ashanti. And it's been a lot of speculations. People tried to insinuate that Nelly dumped her and after he got what he wanted, and everybody had to go back and change the story when they realized that's not what happened. So you got some people that's against against this reconnection between the both of them, because they feel like Nelly made her wait for 10 years, and now he's back with her, and he's gonna make her wait another 10 and disappoint her again. And a lot of these guys are trying to say Nelly's dumb, Ashanti's for the street, she done been with Irv Gotti, and she done been with all these different guys, blah 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 blah. So either you for them or you against them. And me personally, I am definitely for them. I can see it working due to the fact that they are older now. Not only that, these two have been in the industry for a long time. They pretty much have the game on lock to know how ruthless the industry can get. I think they understand that not everybody has their best interest. I think Nelly finally understands that his ego almost made him lose out on a really good thing. He was with Chantel Jackson, Floyd Mayweather's ex-girlfriend, for 7 years. So Nelly has a history of long-term relationships, but the problem is he never takes it to the next level of marriage. But he did indeed say during his interview with Rashida and Kirk that if he were to marry, he wants to make sure that the marriage stays a marriage. He does not want to get married to not have a marriage. So I can respect that. And a lot of people, everybody ain't feeling Nelly like that. They still feel like he's on his fuckboy season or whatever. But gotta admit, for the most part, every females he's dealt with, he's been with them a long amount of time. Not only that, you got to realize he got into the industry very young as a teenager. So when you're new to this industry, it's like being a kid in the candy store. It's all type of varieties. You got all these women checking for you, all these women dating you. He dated Eve. I think he dated Kelly Rowland. He dated her name was Tay, a pretty Korean, a black woman. She played on the show The Game or whatever. So he's been around the block like most men in the industry do. It's not too many basketball players, celebrities, rappers, athletes who are in that industry have been with the same woman for the rest of their life. So Ashanti went through a lot with Nelly, but nevertheless, Nelly had plenty of opportunity where he could have been wife to somebody else. He could have been had kids. They were separated for every bit of 7 years. So that was enough time for both of them to where they both practically could have had kids by other people, practically could have gotten married. And I can respect Nelly in the sense that if he does get married, this would be his first marriage. He does not have a history of marrying just to be married, because a lot of people want to push marriage, but I know some people who are on their third and fourth marriage. Okay, so some people marry just to marry. So pushing marriage is not necessarily a good thing if that person doesn't have the passion to have a longevity marriage. And it sounds like to me, from what Nelly has been stating in his interviews, that he takes marriage very serious. His grandparents, I think he said, was married for like 40, 50 something years. And when his mother and his father had divorced, he talked about the emotional toll it took on him. So him, having experienced it, he realizes the severity of marriage, and it's not something to play with, not something you do. Like Portia's husband, who's on marriage number 3. So some of these men, they don't mind giving you a ring. And just because a man rushes you down the aisle and marries you, it does not mean he's serious about being a husband, okay? So you got a lot of people that are rushing Nelly and rushing Ashanti to hurry up and get the ring. And hell, for all we know, they might be married. For all we know, they're probably keeping a hush-hush because they are older now and realize that sharing too much of everything is not good, because that is the very thing that caused them to break up. Now, I'm just speculating. They may not be married. They may do it backwards. May get married after they have the baby. But nevertheless, I'm definitely rooting for the both of them. I'm getting positive vibes. I think they both are pretty much in the same mind space, and they both seem to be loving each other. So in the meantime, I'm going to congratulate both Nelly and Ashanti. If allegedly she is indeed expecting, which he been saying he was going to make it happen, because people been DMing and going to Nelly's Instagram, hey, when you going to give Ashanti a baby? Because Ashanti hitting them 40s, so his exact words was, I'm working on it. So supposedly, allegedly, it has been confirmed that Ashanti's going to be a mom and there's going to be a dad. Keep in mind, Nelly does have 2 grown children from a previous relationship. Coincidentally, both of his kids from a previous relationship, which are grown, they're both are over 25. I believe his daughter is close in the 30s. His daughter just had a baby herself, so he's a grandfather. So Nelly does not have multiple baby mamas. He has 2 kids from one female, one woman, before he got into the industry and started dating Ashanti and all of these other women. So he does not have a history of creating a lot of broken homes and having multiple children for multiple women. So also, something else I wanted to say, but it just slipped my mind. But yes, Nelly and Ashanti, I believe they're both in a different mindset, and this time it may work for them. So congrats are definitely in order. Also, this is the point I want to make. A lot of people are saying, because Nelly is 49, okay, he looks damn good to be 49. And of course, Ashanti, she's I'm gonna get her age because I can't remember her age right. But a lot of people have been basically stating how they're up in their age. She's 43 years old. Okay, she's a year under me. But damn, Ashanti, you look good, girl. You 43, honey. I thought you was 23. So anyway, a lot of people been everybody's not going to celebrate every milestone in your life. And now that this rumor or the speculation about her pregnancy, which I believe is true, because I don't know why he would just rub on her belly and nothing was there, but there's footage going around of that, but we'll talk about that another time. But a lot of people was basically saying they both are too old. They waited till they got this late to be having children. Listen, I really feel like this. The problem is we're in a world in which it has become acceptable for everybody to have babies at 16, at 14, at 18, because there's this attitude of, well, once you're 18 you're grown. Not necessarily, because if you don't have the maturity, you don't have the mindset, you're not grown. You may be old, you may be of legal age to a degree, but you're not grown. But a lot of people been kind of being negative about it, saying they're up in their age. Nelly is a grandfather, how dare he become a father? I'm like this: it is never too late for you to enjoy whatever blessings God got in store for you. I actually respect the fact that they waited as long as they have, because it gave them both a lot of time to realize what was really important and what they really wanted. I respect Ashanti. I could imagine the pressures of women around her getting pregnant, having babies, and she could have got pregnant by anybody just so she could be her biological clock. and prove her point. And you have a lot of women that's doing that. They don't have a husband, and they don't want to wait for God to send them somebody. So boom, they opt right for being a baby mama. So Ashanti may be one of those women. She may be very stern and strict in her morals and her principles, and I can totally 100% respect that. As far as Nelly, we know men can go forever. Hugh Hefner was having children in his 60s and 70s. Okay, men don't have a biological clock. Nelly is not old like that. Okay, the man is in good shape. He still looks good. He performing on shows. They are not old, and I wish people would stop saying that. Janet Jackson had her first baby when she was in her 50s. It's not about age, and age does play a factor, but I know people who've been 20 and 30 and had unhealthy pregnancies, okay? So age is not the biggest factor. Let's not run out here and get pregnant by the first guy we meet because we're afraid our biological clock, our eggs are going to shrivel up and we can't have children, or because we get a certain age, we already think, oh, I'm old, it's too late. It's about the mindset, it's about the maturity, and it's about your health. Long as Ashanti is healthy, and from the looks of that banging body, I don't think she's going to have too many problems with her pregnancy, even with her age. I'm sure she's going to the doctor, taking her vitamins. I'm sure she's eating healthy. As long as she's not drinking or smoking or doing anything wrong during the pregnancy, she can have a very successful pregnancy. Bridget Nielsen was in her 60s, okay, and had her baby. So please miss me with the it's too old. It may be too old for you. That may be your decision, where you don't want to have a baby past 45. And I get it. Some people, once they hit a certain age, they don't want to have children. I get it. But Ashanti deserves this. She waited her turn. She didn't get desperate and get knocked up by the first guy who she felt like was the highest bidder. I'm rooting for Ashanti because she waited for this. And not to mention, it's from the man she really loves, and she never stopped caring about him. So big ups to Nelly and Ashanti. And I still want to know about that wedding, Nelly. We waiting on that ring, sir, because I know you got the money, and I know you ain't going nowhere because you have been following Ashanti everywhere since y'all got back together like her damn security guard, okay? So Nelly, I'm gonna need you to get that ring, sir, okay? Alright? So let me know. I'm looking on it. I'm looking for the baby and ring. But congrats. So I want to move on to P. Diddy, y'all. Okay, as we know, it's not looking pretty for Diddy, alright? Word on the curve is that all of the celebrities are not comfortable going to the Grammys if P. Diddy is going to attend. Okay, so it's a couple of celebrities that have already pretty much made the decision that if P. Diddy goes to the Grammys, they don't want to be seated by him. Okay, they don't want to be seated by him. They don't want to be in the same section as him. And basically, that's the inside scoop. A lot of stars refuse to sit next to Sean Diddy since all of these accusations, these claims came out. And I get it. And even though, he did not admit to being guilty, but this is the problem. He paid Cassie off versus proceeding with the case, taking it to trial so he can clear his name and actually have it be ruled by the judge that he is innocent. He did not do any of these things that Cassie is accusing him of, rather than to weather the storm. Diddy knew in his heart he did a lot of demonic things. So to make it go away and to keep it hush hush, he decided to pay Cassie off immediately. And when I say he paid them quicker than he paid all of the artists that was up under his label, Bad Boy. Okay, he paid Cassie quicker than he paid Mace, quicker than he paid 112, quicker than he paid Total. He paid her off because he knew it had made it to trial. All the receipts Cassie got, he didn't want that smoke. For P. Diddy to be this arrogant, obnoxious guy that he is, because he already told you that he ain't gonna stop. Okay. Well, that made things worse, because what it looks like is you actually did this and you paid your way out. You bought her off. You bought her out. But as the good word says, a good name is more valuable than gold and rubies. Okay, you can't always pay your way out of things, but it's making people look at him with the side eye. So y'all already know he's been losing sponsors left and right. 50 Cent, who absolutely cannot stand Diddy. 50 Cent gets so much joy and pleasure out of trolling him. 50 Cent actually bought Revolt, which was the company, the television company that Diddy was a chairman over. Once he supposedly alleged he stepped down, which we know good damn well Diddy did not step down. He's too egotistical, he's too arrogant to step down from anything. We know that is not how he operates. He's not a step down type of dude. 9 times out of 10 they pulled Diddy to the side and said, look here, all of this you got surrounding you got going on, it's best that we cut ties. We will let you announce it the way you want to announce it, but this is where the buck stops. We can no longer, partnership with you. Okay, so we know that is what really happened. He got fired. Okay, that's just a nice way of saying I retired or I resigned. Okay, so basically that's what happened. But major artists from the Grammy are saying that they're going to pull out the award show if they are seated next to him. Okay. A number of, according to online reports, a number of celebrity agents have asked for the clients to be seated away from him, and because of all of these requests, they are pushing to remove Diddy from the Grammy guest list, because it's just going to be too difficult. No matter where they send him at, somebody's going to have a problem with it. The formal invitations they got this month. So, with that being said, they don't think it's a good idea to invite Diddy, because that's just going to be too much work trying to sit him somewhere where he's not seated next to any of these celebrities. Some, including high-profile African-American members, fear that inviting him sends the wrong message to audiences and the charities. So, listen, it's not just the Clorox community that got a problem with it. Okay, because we quick to pull out that race card. Well, what about them, and what about why they got to bring a brother down? I'm like, listen, I don't care what color you are. When you out there doing demonic things, corrupt things, you need to go down, and that's how I look at it. Several publicists have asked that their artists aren't seated by him. It's becoming a nightmare. Nobody wants to sit with him. So basically, ever since Cassie gave the alleged trafficking, human trafficking, sexual, battery, sexual assault, and gender motivated violence, all of these things surrounding him regarding the case with Cassie, it's not a good look. No one wants to be near Diddy at this point in time. And can you blame him? Can you blame them? Absolutely not. Everybody has a reputation to obtain, and as the saying goes, birds of a feather flock together. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's not true. Long as you have your own mind, you don't have to be motivated and persuaded to do things other people do. Well, in the industry, that's a different way, because you have to realize these celebrities are a brand. It's more than a company you keep. It's a brand. These celebrities that are going to be at the Grammys, a lot of them have endorsements. They have sponsors. They cannot be anywhere near Diddy. Y'all ever heard the saying, rotten apple spoils a bunch? Diddy is that rotten ass apple that nobody wants to get spoiled just being in the presence of him. So, a lot of the celebrities are going to pull out, and I surely believe this, the Grammys, they're going to do what's best for the Grammys, so they're not going to compromise and lose all of the support of the celebrities on the strength of Diddy. They're not going to do that, so I'm sure he already got those eviction papers that, hey, it's been nice, doing business with you. But at this point in time, based on the accusations and the negative publicity that's being surrounded by your name, your brand, we cannot take that chance and invite you to the Grammys. Now I know y'all saying, so what? Diddy a billionaire. So what? Grammys is just for the the Clorox community. Big deal. So what? Y'all have to realize Diddy is very arrogant, and he's always been one to make the rules as he goes. And for him, it's not about the money at this point in time, because we know he has money. It's so far, okay, if nobody else don't keep coming for him for more millions. It's not about that. It's Diddy's ego that's being bruised more than anything. You have to be mind. You have to understand that Diddy is used to being the boss. He's used to calling the shots. He's not used to being told, no, you can't have, no, you can't do, no, you're not allowed. He's used to giving orders. He's used to the one making the rules. He's not ever having to been the one to not call the shots. Somebody else call the shots for him. Somebody else make the rules for him. So this is very detrimental to his ego, y'all. Diddy is very ego driven, okay? So he's not handling this well. I don't care how much he puts up in front of the camera and he acts unbothered. He acts like, I don't care. I'm still Diddy. I'm still looking pretty, you know. It's not looking good for him. He lost a charter school. He lost the beverage the beverage endorsement, one of those champagne or liquor companies or whatever. You know, the man's an entrepreneur like 50 Cent. Diddy has a lot of companies under his belt, and slowly but surely they're getting pulled from underneath them, and y'all know it's only more to come. But yes, nobody wants to sit next to your boy Diddy, so he's been canceled. He's been handed those eviction letter from the Grammy. Well, I can't even say eviction letter, because with an eviction you first have to come for them to put you out. So he wasn't even invited for them to put him out, you know. So actually he just got canceled. Let's just say he got a cancellation letter. He got canceled, okay? He won't be going to the Grammys no time soon, all right? The Grammys are going to look out for what's the best interest of the Grammys. So hopefully, Diddy, sir, you better do some heavy repenting, but you did a lot of dirt. So guess what? God will forgive you. I still recommend that you repent. That's God forgiveness. God will forgive you, but at the same time, you still have to answer for the deeds that you put out there. And this is the problem with a lot of people. When they do all type of stuff and they ask for forgiveness and seek repentance, they don't think they have to still answer to the things they have done. God is a forgiving God, but at the same time, he's going to make you answer for the things that you have done. You still have to reap what you sown out there. So it's gonna be interesting, y'all. Keep Diddy lifted up in prayers, you know, not because we feel sorry for him, but you know, because at this point he's definitely gonna need it, you know what I mean? So I don't pray for God to get him out of this. I pray God gives him some conviction in his heart for him to make whatever wrongs, make it right, pay your artists off, do something right. You got to fix it somewhere, versus going around here acting like you still haven't done other people wrong. You're going to have to fix it one way or another, but time will tell. And the thing about it is, you know, Diddy has kids, you know. He's going to end up, you know, opportunities for them are going to get blocked because they are associated to Diddy as the father. You know what I mean? So he may not think it's a big deal right now, but when it starts to affect his children, and I think that's going to come next, it's really, really, really going to really hit close to home. It's getting down to the wire. So y'all, we'll see how that goes. Next, before we go into sermons of today, this is going to be the last on my word on the curve, talking about Jeezy and Jeannie Mai. Oh God, these two are so exhausting. I'm tired of talking about this Asian Angrybird. Okay, so as y'all know, Jeezy have filed for divorce, making it very clear that it is not reconcilable by any means. We've heard different various rumors. her mother was staying with them, then the brother was staying with them, and he was so asphyxiated with the Asian persuasion, he did not look into her culture, did not take the time to understand, how they perceive family, as far as them being able to move in and leech off of his income through her. He was not aware of all of any of that, and that is something you have to definitely be cautious of if you're going to marry someone from another race or another culture. Even when you marry people within your culture, it's very imperative that you understand the dynamics of family. You may come from a family where if your family does come over, they know they got to knock before they open the door. They know that they can't just show up unannounced. You may come from a family where that's how y'all operate. Well, you may marry into a family in which they don't knock on each other's doors. They just go in, open the door, and sit where they want to sit, go in your refrigerator. And if you're not used to that, and you marry somebody who's used to that type of upbringing, it can cause a lot of conflict. And that's why it's very important that you understand your partner. So basically, y'all, what Jeannie Mai is insinuating is that Jeezy cheated. Okay, she decided to use this as a last attempt effort, desperate effort for hope, because she sees that she's not winning. She's drowning as far as getting all of the money she really wants from Jeezy. Jeannie Mai thinks that because she was married to Jeezy, even though they haven't even been married, not even a good 2 years, she feels entitled, especially even more so because they have a child together. She thinks that she's been with him long enough to where Jeezy will have to leave her in his mansion that he had for years, way before he met her, and pay the bills to the mansion. He move out. That way her mama and her brother could live there. So she did not know no more than Jeezy did what she was getting into. Neither one of them did, and that is the reason why both of them are at each other's throats. Neither one of them knew each other well enough to make these type of huge investments, as far as meaning a marriage and then a baby on top of that. So now what's going on is Jeannie, I guess after she done got past the feeling sorry for herself, pity for herself, understanding that Jeezy is going through with this divorce, now she's went from being hurt to being revengeful. I think at this point she's reaching and grabbing at anything just to avoid, not avoid, but to hurt Jeezy for embarrassing her. You have to realize Jeannie Mai was putting on this front like everything was so great, everything was so wonderful. The whole time she's promoting his book on her Instagram page, supposedly being a supportive wife, saying that the book is the #1 seller. She's doing all this praise and worship for Jeezy. Whole time he was at the divorce office filing the papers, and by the time she found that out, she had already congratulated him on his book sales on her Instagram. So either, girl, you knew what was going on and you just figured, well, if he sees I'm trying or I'm not giving up on him, he'll think about it, or either you was just really oblivious. You really thought your marriage was not in trouble. I'm not sure which one or both, but that is what happened. So y'all, supposedly word on the curve is that there's been a prenup that Jeezy did, and the card she's trying to pull is that she's stating that Jeezy cheated, because if she can prove Jeezy cheated, that prenup says whoever has cheated will ultimately win the majority of whatever in the marriage, whether if it's money, whether if it's a property. So in other words, whoever get caught cheating, they automatically going to be in the wrong, and the partner who cheated is the one that's going to have to compensate for the partner, for the husband or the wife that got cheated on. So that is her final straw. She's pulling out the bag. She's getting desperate. She sees that Jeezy is serious about this divorce. He's not coming back. So she's angry with him. And let's face it, when it comes to divorce, people get really, really nasty. They don't even be needing the money like that. They just want to hurt you. They don't even want to be a full-time parent. But if it means taking the kids just so you could keep paying the bills, and just so the parent who's the most concerned is restricted on how much time they give with the kids. People do whatever they when it comes to divorce, people get nasty and they do each other in, and they basically do whatever is in their own best interest, not within the best interest of the child or both people overall. And I think that's what's going on with Jeannie Mai. She's angry because she started something that Jeezy would not let her finish. She put her marriage on a pedestal with Jeezy. She walked around here uppity thinking she better than other women because she had Jeezy. Not to mention the ex-husband who mouth she pissed in and called it sweet milk, who been with her 10 years and wanted a child, didn't have no baby mama drama, didn't have the baggage Jeezy had, yet she would not give this man a child, and he was her husband before they had a child. So Jeannie Mai is getting back a lot of her karma, and so is Jeezy. Jeezy done did a couple of women in too back in the day. So do I feel sorry for either one? Absolutely not. Nevertheless, I don't think Jeannie Mai is going to walk away with no more than just some child support. I doubt she's going to get spousal. I doubt she's going to get Jeezy's house. Jeezy was smart and got that divorce and jumped ship before she could come up with anything to leave him first. Where he was not smart. He had no business marrying this woman until he really found out more about her. So both of them are going to be each other's worst enemy. Hopefully the judge, the courts resolve something quick so they can just focus on being co-parents, the best of co-parents, and get past all of this drama with these courts and with this prenup. That just needs to be done and over with. That way they can focus on the well-being of their daughter. I forgot the little girl's name, Morocco or Monaco or something like that. But yeah, so that's the deal with that. So anyway, I'm going to get ready to go into the sermon, and that is Word on the Curve. And like I said, that's going to be my segment, my new segment that I'm going to be entering onto my channel. So I always do a brief word on the curve before I go into content. Nevertheless, I'm going to try to keep it a little less, but it was a whole lot I had to get out. But nevertheless, let's get into talking about your boy Martell and his new fuckboy shenanigans. So today's sermon, welcome to the congregation. Today's word, when you realize you have completely ruined your life for a bird. That's the word, when you realize you lost your stability for a bird. So for those of you who have not been keeping up, Martel and Melody, one of their kids, their daughters, had a tennis game. I don't know if it was tennis or soccer. I think it was tennis. She had some type of game. And of course, they stopped the co-parent and make contact with each other when it comes to the events with their children. So nevertheless, Melody and Martell was there. They did not come together, but what happened was her phone had turned on, and so happened when her phone accidentally came on, you could hear Martell in the background literally begging for his marriage back. Now, the same egotistical, nasty, trifling individual who wasn't you just bragging about how great Ariane's chicken Alfredo was when you moved in with her at her Airbnb rented home, but yet it took Mel's phone to accidentally turn on for you to be exposed, and now the whole world knows, including Ariane Angrybird, that you are still trying to talk Mel, the audacity, back into getting back together. Every time we thought the dead has arisen, it once again keeps resuscitating its fuckboy shenanigans. So, let's excuse my French, but anytime I talk about this ninja, I just don't. I can't keep my religion because it's an overkill. So this man, like Melody's been telling us for years, every time he comes around her, he cannot not try to make a move on her. It is just automatic. Whenever Martell gets in the presence of Mel, he sees how beautiful she is. He sees how well together she is. He sees how unbothered she is. And it just bruises his little boy, his swollen ego every time. Because he realizes that every time they do come together for the sake of their children, he knows at the end of the day the reality is he cannot go home with Mel. He knows the reality is they are leaving and going in separate cars. He knows the reality is either the kids are going with her or they're going with him. He knows that that family that he had, he knows that will never re-exist again. And Martell still has not fully adjusted to this life without Mel. We know Mel recently had a party where she dropped her name. Martell was trying so hard to convince Mel to hold on to a part of them. In actuality, he is the one that's still holding on to a part of them. Mel has given it to God, and she has let that go long time ago. And that was the wisest thing she could have done, because we see how far Martell will go when he can't have this way. So we have seen Martell, the congregation, we all have witnessed Martell pull every dirty trick, every dirty rabbit out the hat. We have witnessed him trying his damnness to destroy and tear Melody down. We've seen him belittle her around other people who he knows did not have Mel's best interest, not even his. We've seen him openly, unapologetically say in front of another couple, I think it was the Fletchers, that she does not satisfy me. You haven't been satisfying me. He has verbally, emotionally, and spiritually tried to damage and destroy and dismantle this woman's spirit, all because he's a broken man. And you have to realize, a broken man cannot build a woman if he's broken. And Martell is definitely a broken man. So therefore, any woman who comes in his path, he's going to break her. Okay? You cannot give somebody something that you do not have within yourself. If we go to Proverbs chapter 17, verses 20 through 22, an evil man is suspicious of everyone and tumbles into constant trouble. That was the reason Martell was going around here accusing Melody of cheating, making up lies, making up accusations, basically telling Melody that she was not satisfying him, pleasing him. A lot of this had to do with the fact that he himself was struggling with his own troubles. And he was doing a lot of gaslighting and deflecting. And we know one of the issues he was definitely struggling with was worthiness, of being self-worthy. Martell does not have any confidence. Y'all have to realize that even though he may be walking around with his chest puffed out and flexing his muscles, that does not mean he's confident. Now, it does mean he's cocky, but being cocky means you feel the need to keep proving that you are confident, and if it means you got to use your physical attributes or your materialistic attributes to convince people that you're confident, you will do that. But confidence is actually a person who is so sure of themselves that they don't feel the need to have to destroy others or pretend to be something they're not for people to see their confidence. And that's the difference between being confident and cocky. So what's going on with your boy is that Martell has already realized that he has bitten off more than he could chew. Every time Martell makes the decision to come up with these tit for tat little boy tantrum antics, like when he got on live with Ariana Air Mattress, playing with little Chucky or little Helmet in the back, who might need to get on some Ritalin or something, allegedly. Everything I say that's alleged is based off of my own opinion. Nothing I say in this content is actual factual. It is based off educational and entertainment purposes only. This is my disclaimer. So, he was on live showing his behind because he once again wanted to up the ante to get Mel upset. And you have to realize Martell used to be really good at upsetting Mel. That was his specialty. He specialized in doing things to upset Mel. And it was only because Mel really loved him, cared about him. So for a while, Martell had the upper hand. But what some people don't understand is when you have emotionally and mentally and physically sabotage and destroy someone, what you do is you cause them to numb out. They become Novocaine to the BS. Okay, it's like going in with the root canal with a sore tooth, excruciating pain, and then when that dentist injects your gums with that needle of Novocaine, you start to feel a numbing sensation in which the pain is not as intense and as excruciating as it first was. And what Martell doesn't understand, all of the years of the verbal abuse, the emotional abuse, the spiritual abuse, instead of it destroying her, what it did was it built her. It built her with strength to be able to endure all of the pain, the chaos, and misery, everything she has ever encountered from Martell. What he tried to use to destroy her, he used to build her. Like as the saying goes, what the devil meant for harm, God meant for good. All of the hurt, the pain, the disrespect, instead of Melody crumbling, folding, and burying herself in the dirt, under all the dirt he piled up on her. Mel didn't bury herself under the dirt he piled on her. Instead, Mel took that dirt, put some seeds in that dirt, she watered it, and now it's blossoming. And one thing the enemy cannot stand is when God elevates you from the very thing that he used to destroy you. So, Martell had used every card out of a deck. And let's not to mention, Martell's not working with a full deck. So the little bit of cards he had left in the deck, he exhausted every card. He laid all of his cards out on the table. So there's nothing else in his hand that he can really play at this point. And the final straw he already, but he don't realize he thinking everything he's doing now is doing something, but he pulled the final straw really when he had that baby on Melody in that marriage. That was when the official damage was done. That's when it was done. It wasn't done after when him and Ariana moved in together. All of that was just extra things piled on to the damage that he done. He had already did the ultimate damage. That's what he's not understanding. When he violated that marriage and he defiled their union by committing adultery, then on top of that conceiving a child from another woman outside his marriage, he had already numbed Melody out from that point on out. He could not blow her and take her to the floor no lower than what he did at that moment. And because he's not in the spirit and he's so evil, he keeps thinking that if he just keeps coming at her, keep coming at her, keep coming at her, keep coming at her, keep coming at her, that eventually he's going to still break her somewhere. Basically, Martell thought that he was going to continue to break her. But it comes a point to where you can only apply the pressure but so much. You know, it's basically, you know, like adding heat to a grenade. You know, eventually, the more heat you apply to that grenade, the grenade is going to have to implode. And he made her implode 3 years ago from the day Little Helmet was conceived. So all he did was strengthen her. And what he's thinking is the more conniving, malicious, fuckboy shenanigans that he comes up with, he's thinking he's going to break her down further. If Martell didn't accomplish anything else in his life, the one thing he did accomplish was making Mel become stronger and more immune to the BS. So at this point, he can't possibly break her any further than what he has, unless he do something really extreme. And I don't want to give the demon any ideas. I can give y'all some examples of what would really be in a next level detrimental, that a next detrimental level that he can elevate it to. But I don't want to give the devil any ideas, because it'd be just my luck he run across my video and hear those ideas that I would not dare even want to speak into the existence. But for all of my sisters who are woke, I know y'all know exactly where I am coming from with this. So what is going on is that Martell has reached a new level at an all-time low. He's lower than he's ever been. He's past the basement at this point. He's lower than the basement. And reality has set even stronger. He tried to punish Mel, but in reality, he ended up punishing himself. He was so asphyxiated on hurting her that he hurt himself. He was so asphyxiated on destroying Mel that he destroyed himself. He was so asphyxiated on trying to ruin her that he ruined himself. And what has happened is, it's one thing dating someone, but when you actually have to live with them, that is when it becomes a whole different ball game. This is when you really start to see a lot of things about this person manifest that you did not see when y'all was seeing each other in small segments, when y'all was having smash sessions, getting up together, um, to fornicate, because that's exactly what he was doing. But now y'all living together, and let me tell you something. This is the thing of being a married man. When dealing with a side chick as a married man is more exciting because, you have the best of both worlds. And you get to come home comfortably, still have a wife to cook, clean for you, and still have the privilege of seeing your children. And when you get annoyed with your children, or you get annoyed with the wife, you have those moments when you don't when you're just not feeling being a family man, and you want to have that time to go out there and be a wild boy and bust a few nuts every once in a while, stroke your own ego, of course. It's more fun because you got to sneak and creep to see this harlot, this hood harlot. It's more adventurous because there's no responsibilities together. There's no obligations. You're not having to pay her bills. She can't place too many demands on you like your wife does, because she knows her ultimate purpose is to fulfill the deeds that he claims the wife is not fulfilling. So her purpose is to continuously sexually obligate herself to somebody else's husband, because she can't obligate him to marry her, right? No, because he's married. She can't obligate him to pay but so much of her bills. He may pay a bill or two, but she understands that his primary household to his wife, most of the money is going to go there. So if she's even lucky for that matter, she may get a light bill or her rent-a-center furniture payment, whatever the married man she's creeping with chooses to do. But we all know in most cases they do the bare minimum. These dudes are not like who married men was back in the day. Married men back in the day, even though it was still just as wrong to commit adultery back then as it is now, nobody wanted for anything, and definitely he made sure nobody disrespected that main wife. That was part of the rules. That's how it worked back in the day. Everybody had everything, but at the end of the day, all of the outside women knew the wife was going to be the primary woman that he provides for. Everybody was going to have a house, but the wife was going to have a bigger house. Everybody was going to have a car. Listen, everybody had a Hyundai, but the wife was going to be pushing a Lexus. Okay? Everybody had a 2-3 bedroom, but the house was going, but that wife was going to have an 8 bedroom. Those was the rules back then, and I don't condone, I don't justify any man stepping outside his marriage. Period. Point blank. Because you do bring karma upon yourself when you decide to step outside the will of God and not respect your marital vows. However, even in Rome, there's some type of rules and regulations. The problem with these men today, and especially Martell in specific, the problem with Martell is because he does not follow rules, he didn't create any rules for himself. And because Martell does not respect boundaries, he did not place any boundaries from himself in how he handled this whole ordeal. And that is the problem. You have a lot of these narcissistic men, and in some cases women as well, who want to call the shots for everyone else but can't call all the shots for themselves. Martell has been trying to regulate male and regulate Ariane air mattress, and in the process he wasn't regulating himself, and this is how he got screwed between both females. both women. Okay, Martell is living with this one. Martell is living with his mistress. So the excitement, I know, is long gone, because at this point he did not have to sneak and creep and lie and play games to get it. It's overly available to him, like Little Caesar's pizza. It's right there, and blowjobs and booty is just like Little Caesar's for him. It's hot and ready. He can get it anytime he want, quick in a hurry. So what's been going on is Arion Air Mattress and Martell have become oblivious to reality. And I think denial and the it becomes even stronger. Their sense of reality, their sense of lack of reality. I think it becomes even stronger when the both of them are together. I truly believe that Martell boosts up Arion Air Mattress with lies, and she does the same thing. I think they both um, feed into giving each other false hopes, especially Martell. I do believe that when they are together, obliviousness is at an all-time high. They really believe when they are together, things are going to happen a certain way, not taking into account, and I said this before, that they have become a curse to each other because of how they got together. And the bottom line was they disrespected the vows of the marriage, and they most importantly disrespected God, because God honors marriage. So when you disrespect marriage, you disrespect God. So Arion and Martell, they're both in a broken place in which there's absolutely nowhere for them to go. It's practically like society has given up on them in a sense. I don't hear Air Mattress talk much about her family. I don't think, I could be wrong, but my assumption is I don't think they deal with her that strongly. Her own daughter probably barely even talks to her or communicates with her. We know Martell, his whole family is a hot mess. His mother is in the struggle, and we've seen her be the queen of denial. She's lost her home. She's lost a lot, because you have to realize your curse falls upon everybody up under you who depends on you. And while Martell was out here doing him and smashing and passing on Arion Air Mattress, meanwhile his mother was also getting the backlash of his actions, because we all know if he would have still been married to Mel, listen, Mel would have made it happen. She would have made sure his mother still had a home, to a place to call home. She would have made sure she had a place to stay. He does not realize that when he lost his wife as a blessing, everybody connected to him lost Mel as a blessing as well. Okay? So everything underneath Martell has suffered. And the only reason his children have not suffered is because they are under Mel's covenant and under Mel's care, and most importantly, under God's grace and mercy. So Martell has consistently and repetitively upped the ante. He went live, going along with the game, and boosting up Air Mattress, because he never went public with her before. So this time he decides to go public and actually go live, because this when you know he's gotten to a point, he's far beyond desperate, because he's never went live other than that time when they tried to debunk those rumors about Martell allegedly hitting her, which we know to this day that's how it went, but we're gonna say alleged, just to be safe. Other than that, he never went live with her. not in the manner of acting like he was her man. But that was the last stunt he pulled, going on live with Arion, and him and Arion going from store to store shopping, doing things for male kids, knowing Mel don't care for air mattress, being around her children or doing anything. They recorded all of that. And what has happened is the little bit of demonic spark between them, it is slowly burning out. It's like they both basically done lit two ends of the candle, to where there's nothing pretty much left for them between each other at this point. Martell lives with air mattress. He lives with his side chick. And like I said before in my last content, anytime a man has to go move in with his mistress, with his harlot Jezebel, that was the cause of his marriage being broken, that lets you know how bad he's really doing. Because like I stated before, we've heard of many stories in which men have cheated on their wives and been with other women, but it's very rare that you hear a man move in with his side chick. Now, I've even heard instances in which the side chick would like move in with the man and they got married or something, but that's very rarely. But really think about what I'm saying. There's not too many men that's going to move in with their side chick. But Martell's luck is just that bad. And he needs a place to stay just that bad, that he's willing to move in with a woman he secretly despises. Because don't think for a moment that Martell does not despise air mattress for the loss of his marriage, even though he caused it, even though he was the one laying with her. But think about how he treats Mel. Martell blames Mel for everything, and we know she never stepped out on him, and when she did, that was when they was already separated and not dealing with each other. So imagine if he could do that to his own wife. Imagine what he's doing to Arion. Only difference is Arion is willing to smile through the cameras and hold up that image, and Mel made the wise choice to leave and walk away from a situation that was not going to serve her. So, I mean, Mel could have very well done the same thing. Mel could have did what Arion did, still smiled for the gram, still stayed with Martell to prove a point to everybody who already knew how Martell was disrespecting her, and to prove a point to Arion that I can keep him. I know you got him, but I can keep him. But Mel said, you know what? Protecting my peace is more important than preserving my image. I could fake the funk and be miserable, and instead of and put myself in a position where I'm constantly crying behind closed doors, suffering in silence, like Tisha doing with Marceau, and she act like we don't know that, but that's another story. She made the decision. You think Mel didn't know people wasn't going to talk about her? She already had haters. As a matter of fact, Martell and Mel had haters collectively. They was living an American dream that many of their own friends was low-key jealous and hating on. And Martell's actions gave Tisha, Kimmy, and everybody else who already was feeling some type of way because of the success, it gave them that boost they needed, that they finally felt at something, if you get what I'm saying. Because Martell and Mel was very successful together. They had a lot of, going for them during their marriage. So they was a threat to their friends, in Huntsville, or people who knew of them. They was a threat. So when people got the word that Martell stepped outside that marriage and had a baby, listen, everybody was just as gloating off of the demise of their marriage because they was already threatened anyway by Mel's drive, by her drive, her determination. So Martell doesn't realize he fed into the plan of the enemies. He already had a lot of people hating on what type of wife he had, what type of life he had. And while you got men around here struggling, wishing they had wives that would help them, was business minded, was wise, he had all of that, and he let it go. He compromised his lifetime security for basic booty, brains, and blowjobs. So him and Ariane living under the same roof together. All of the ways now are being manifested. He's really seeing up close and personal how dumb, how slow, how naive, everything that he did not want to face. Him living, him staying up under the same roof with her. He sees it loud and clear. He sees that Air Mattress is nothing like Mel. She don't cook like Mel. Even though he was bragging on that great value chicken Alfredo that Air Mattress made. Anybody can make chicken Alfredo. So I'm not impressed by that. No, get down and do something serious like some steak and garlic mashed potatoes from scratch. I'm not talking about the mashed potatoes that come in the box. Make some gravy from scratch. Cook anything. But she don't know nothing about that. He's seeing is totally different from what he's used to having. Now, keep in mind when he had the access to smash and pass and still go home to his wife, to his life with wife, he wasn't able to see really all of Air Mattress's imperfections and her faults and flaws. He saw some of it, but not like he's seeing it now. You have to realize that's a very huge transition for Martell to go from a successful woman to a slow woman, to go from living in a huge house to a Section A apartment, to go from having 3 well-behaved children to 1 undisciplined little Chucky who's always screaming like he's having nightmares, to go from going on family trips and traveling to the only place y'all travel to now is Longhorn Steakhouse. And then when you do go, you got to go on the weekdays so you can get the happy hour drinks for $1. Because if you go on a Saturday or Sunday, the drinks are going to be a little higher. He sees how different his life is. That's like going from a man. Listen, that's like having a husband. I got a girlfriend. Well, I won't say girlfriend. I got a particular female that I know. I'm not friends with her. I'm not even going to go into who she is, but I would say this. She was married to a man for 17 years that always worked, paid the bills, handled business, and he was a man about how he ran the house. Your nastiness, your childishness got him to a point in which he did the mail and he left because you just thought that because he was with you 17 years he would never leave. Now keep in mind, all the kids you got, none of them belong to him. They're from previous relationships. So he was able to break that marriage with a clean slate and not have to pay you no child support, and y'all didn't own any homes or assets together, so he was able to break free from that marriage. So he's remarried now, and he married a woman who's pretty much on the same level as he is. She has a nice home. She drives trucks just like him. So he finally found a companion who pretty much is on the same page that he's on. Now, mind you, the ink wasn't even dry on y'all divorce papers within a couple of months, and he had moved on. But anyway, you were so hurt and broken by your husband moving on after being in a 17-year relationship marriage with you, and I get that is very painful. But instead of you dealing with that pain, you picked you up a younger guy who doesn't have a job, who has a criminal record, and is basically at a dead end in his life. He has no goals, no ambition. He has no plans. You was so desperate not to be lonely. You got with this younger man and you moved him in your home, and you are feeling the funk of him just being extra baggage, because you have to remember she was married for 17 years to a man who took care of the bills, took care of the house, cut the grass, made sure everything was good, had money and stacked up in the savings. This young guy does none of that. And you can tell now she's more miserable than she's ever been, because it's a saying that you can't miss what you never had. But this is the issue. She did have it. She had a man that handled business. She had a man that helped with the bills. Not a man, I mean husband, which is not her ex-husband. But she had a husband who gave her the benefit of security, in which all the weight was not on her. She went from sugar to crack. Okay? Same thing with Martell. He went from sugar to crack. Yeah, sugar to crack. That might sound better than the other word that we know, But that's what has happened. That is why when he saw Mel at that game, he had used that opportunity to still beg her about them getting back together, because the ship with Ariane is steadily sinking. He sees up close and personal how different Ariane really is compared to Mel. And let me tell y'all something. It ain't always the big things. It's the little things. Little things like Mel probably would know he likes his eggs a certain way. And when Ariane makes breakfast, she probably don't even care to ask. You know what I mean? Like, I know I'm reaching. But when you've been with somebody that long, they know you. They know your habits. They know what you like and what you don't like. For instance, I've been married 23, it'll be 24 come March 11th, coming up, God spare our lives. And I've been living with my husband for 23 years, the whole duration of our marriage. I know his habits in and out. He knows mine. So there was moments in which he had been injured and had to be under the care of a hospital for like 3 days. And when I tell you, I really saw the difference in his absence, down to the little things. Now, mind you, the blessing was, he was at the hospital. I can go and see him. We called each other every day. We talked at least 3-4 times a day, because I had to handle business. I had to do a lot of things while he was on bed rest and stuff. But when I say I felt the absence of just him not coming through the door like he always would when he gets off from work. That's what we do. We hug every time we see each other. As soon as he comes through the door, that's just something we always do. And them 3 days, I didn't get that. I didn't get that hug that I'm used to. His truck pulling up, his work truck pulling up. Him calling me, let me know I'm on my way to the house. Did you cook or do I need to pick up something? Just little things like him taking the trash out, him cutting the grass. Matter of fact, it wasn't 3 days. It was almost a week. Come to think of it, it was a week. I had to do everything that normally he has always done. So it was difficult for me, but I knew the situation I was at stake, so I had to put my selfishness aside. So anyway, I said all that to say this. That's the reason why I brought all of that up, is that you don't realize a person's presence until you get their absence. That is what's going on with your boy Martell. That is why he still won't get past Melody not wanting him. The reality is so stronger now than it's ever been. And listen, the older he gets, the worse it's going to get, because y'all have to realize Martell is not getting any younger. He's getting older. Okay, he ain't no young guy, 18, 19, and still learning himself and got to go through a few more women. He's at an age now in which that being a player and a playboy, that's not working for him, because for one, he don't have the money, because it's expensive to see different women and deal with different women. And for two, he's too selfish. Most women aren't going to lower their standards to appease to a man like Martell, unless you Angrybird. Angrybird is the only low self-esteem breed left in the wolf pack that's willing to wait on him hand and foot. And this is the thing about Martell. Yes, Ariana is convenient, but that ain't what he want. The convenience is not even suiting him at this point, other than, okay, he needs a place to stay. But now he's realizing that this is not a good look. This ain't the it factor. I'm sure Ariana Air Mattress is doing everything to try to please him, washing his clothes, making his sandwiches. She's trying to be male. She's trying to come as close as to what she knows Martell really wants. I'm sure she's fighting to play this role as his wife, knowing she's not and she will never be. It's like it's kind of like you auditioning for a role that you're not going to get picked for the movie. And that's what she's doing. She's playing this role of male, and it does not matter how good she dresses, if she styles her hair like male, if she tries to pretend to do business like male. She's not male. She knows that, and most importantly, Martell knows that. He's living in the same residence, and the spark with her is just not the same. For one, you ain't got all your children with you. You got little Chucky that's screaming and bouncing up and down on the rent-a-center furniture like he's a monkey in the zoo. Not when you're used to having 3 well-behaved children that aren't screaming, aren't yelling, are disciplined, and are peaceful to be around. No disrespect to Lil Helmet. I know he's not peaceful to be around. Air Mattress was not part of the plan. She was not a permanent plan. He did not choose to be with her. But unfortunately, his karma put him in a position in which he ended up having to depend on the very thing that was the demise that is the demise of why he lost his marriage. And that is not what he wanted. Like I stated before, there ain't too many married men going to move in with their side chick. You got to really be doing bad, brother. Really, really doing bad. But he's seeing up close and personal. And that is why when he saw Mel, he had to utilize that opportunity to let her know how badly he really wants his marriage back. But this is the bad part about it. If Mel were to take him back, and I know she never will, I know that chapter is closed, but let's just say hypothetically she did choose that. We know Martell is still gonna lie, still gonna cheat, still gonna smash Angrybird. He's not gonna be genuine. It's just not in him to be genuine. He's crying out for help because he's broke. He's miserable. He's tired of Angrybird. And listen, because he's able to get all the sex he wants, that it's not even exciting anymore. It was exciting when, they was having these festivities, during their flings. But anytime you can have something any and every day, it's not as good. And I'm sure because she knows that Martell is still in love with Mel, I'm sure she tries everything she can to please him. I'm sure she rarely ever turns him down when he wants it. And even still, it's not enough for him to not want Mel. This is what Ariana's not understanding. You cannot make him unwant Mel. You cannot. It's not enough blowjobs or booty that will drive the desire out of him from not wanting Mel. It's not there. And it still hasn't fully registered with Ariana. I think even, and coincidentally, she called. I don't know, somebody notified her or told her they saw it alive, that Martell was, still, trying to work on Mel, flirting with Mel, still begging Mel for another chance. Somebody most likely alerted her, and she called him, and he answered or whatever, and called himself playing it cool or whatever, but the damage was done. Because what she's finding out is, no matter what I do, I can't make him unwant her. I can't make him not desire her. Listen, the hardest battle to fight is desire. If somebody desires drugs, what are you going to do? Even if you take drugs from them and you tell them you got to stay home, you can't no longer go out because you like to get high, and we know you're going to buy drugs to get that high or whatever. That's not going to stop the desire because you keep them away from it. Even in something good, if a person is determined, if they desire going to college, getting their degrees, you being difficult and they're not getting the support they need, nobody's not giving them money to pay for the tuition, nobody's not giving them the resources where they'll be able to go back and forth as much as they need to. If they have the desire for it, they're going to find a way to make it happen, whether they get the support or not. Those are just minor examples, but Air Mattress cannot do enough. There's never will be enough that she can do in which Martell will get to that place in which he will say, I don't want my marriage with Mel. It's not there. Not only that, Air Mattress has made it so easy for him to know no matter what he does, she will always welcome him back with open arms. So both of them have played each other under the same breath, but they're both miserable. And Arion is going to find some way to make this make sense, even though we all clearly heard Martell uh, at, flirt with Mel and ask Mel about taking him back. The recording has gone viral. Everybody has posted it. I know True T has posted it. The recording. I didn't get to watch Caramel Rail yet, but I know True T definitely has it. So check her out. Let her know Mocha sent you if you do decide to listen to the audio. But a lot of bloggers have talked about it. So he cannot lie and deny. He was asking about another chance because he don't want to be with Arion. He don't want to go back to that Section 8 house. He don't want to go back and listen to Screaming Chucky all night. He is getting tired of laying her. How much blowjobs and booty can you get from a woman that you really don't want to keep you content? That, I know that's old, that's stale. I said it was fine when you was able to go back and forth, but you live with it, so you've had all this access to get it as much as you want. So I know that's old by now. That done got stale. You have to have something more edifying in a relationship other than just sexing each other all the time, because you will get bored. It will get old. You have to have something else to look forward to. You have to have something fulfilling. And Martell's never going to take it to the next level with Air Mattress. Unless when he sees this does not work, he sees that Mel still didn't give in, he very well indeed may get mad enough to take it to that. And you know, I know, even Ray Charles and Elvis Presley from the grave knows Martell is always looking for new ways to up the ante. He's always raising the stakes. He is so narcissistic. He will marry. Listen, I don't put nothing past that joker. I believe Martell is so conniving yet dumb at the same time and pathetic. He'll marry that girl just to prove a point, knowing he don't want to marry her, knowing she don't have nothing for him to make him want to marry her. He'll do it just to try to hurt Mel. This is what I'm saying. Martell will hurt himself. Martell will take a chance and hurt himself if he thinks it's going to hurt Mel. He will cut his own throat just so he can bleed on Mel. He will cut his own throat just to bleed over Mel, even though he knows if you cut your own neck, you out of here. You dead and gone. But just so he can bleed on Mel a little bit, he'll do it. This man will hurt himself. I don't put nothing past him. I won't be surprised if Shrek Jr. don't go and pull the next ante, because every ante he don't pull, he done exhausted all his draw fours out the Uno deck, and we know that Martell is not working with a full deck mentally, nor is Arion Air Mattress. So I don't know how many more tricks he got left in the grab bag. He may marry her again, may get her pregnant again. He may not want to do the married thing because he sees how much he done lost. So he may try something else. He may, get her pregnant again, just to try to hurt Mel. At this point, it's all about I'm gonna hurt Mel, hurt Mel, hurt Mel, hurt Mel, hurt Mel, hurt Mel. Even if I got to hurt myself, even if I got to hurt my children. I want what I want. And I can't have what I want. And because, he's gotten away with so much for so long, it's still hard to wean him off the nipple. It's like a baby who done got used to sucking on a nipple. And he's become comfortable with that. And you try to get him off the nipple so you can get him onto a sippy cup and he can transition into a cup. Anytime you take that nipple out the mouth and you give him a cup, the child rebels, the child cries, the child fusses, and if until you wean that child off, it's going to continue. That child is going to continue to give you a hard time, and you have to be willing to snatch the nipple out the mouth. And if it takes going through screaming and crying, and the child throwing tantrums, and you still stick to your guns, and you make sure he or she does not get complacent with that nipple, then that's part of the sacrifice that got to be made. It's like a child who don't want to be potty trained. They want to keep wearing pull-ups. And at some point, you're going to have to be patient and get that child out of them pull-ups. You're going to have to make them go to the potty. And it's going to be difficult the first couple of times because you just done got used to letting them wear a pull-up versus you taking the time to train them to use the potty. And that's basically what's going on. He done got away with so much for so long. It's hard for him to believe, even 3 years later. It's hard for him to believe that Mel don't want him. Mel always accepted him and tolerated him, no matter what he had, no matter what he took her through. This is why 3 years later, this man is still trying to comfort Mel, still trying to persuade and convince Mel that they should be together. Because in his mind, he has had just that much control. And sometimes you don't know how much control you have allowed a person to have over you until you snatch that control and you take it away. And you see how hard they rebel. You see how much hell you catch off of them. You constantly give a baby candy, and all of a sudden you want to snatch candy away from that baby. That baby gonna scream, holler, roll on the ground. They gonna have a fit. Martell is having a fit because this man has controlled everything, and especially he had just that much control over Mel. That's why it really still has not registered that he does not have that control. He doesn't want to believe it. But as time goes on, and what's going to break it, indefinitely, is when Mel gets another man. And as long as Mel is single, he's going to keep trying to come back to her. Because he feels like this is going on. He feels like as long as Mel is by herself, I stand a chance. In his sick mind, he probably believed, well, Mel probably hasn't moved on because she probably wants this marriage just as bad as I do, and she's playing hardball. Because you got to remember, Mel been dealing with years of this, back and forth, break up, get back, break up, get back. This is the longest she's been this consistent, and it's a harsh reality check because he does not want to be with Ariana. He knows that that this is practically the end for him. He's pulled all the stops out. But what's going to really break the straw in the camel's back when she gets a man who Martell will become threatened by. Whatever man she's get, he's definitely going to have to be successful, and I believe that. I believe Mel is not working with donated dick, somebody who don't have their stuff together. I really believe her standards are going to be very high after what she's going through with Martell, and I pray she gets someone good to her, because it's always good women that have been through hell and back, and you would think after they done served their time catching hell that somebody good for them will finally come in their life, and some women just can't catch a break. They go from bad guy to bad guy to bad guy to bad guy. So from loser to loser to loser. Sometimes the good people, we become very magnetic to people that aren't good for us, whether in friendship, and jobs and companionship. Um, People become drawn to your kindness because your kindness is mistaken as weakness. Um, it's very interesting, but that's basically what's going on. He's living in a nightmare every day. Yeah, we know him and Ariane like to post all the wonderful stuff they do. Um, that situationship, because not a relationship. I can never say they're in a relationship because Martell met Air Mattress when they were married, so it would never be a relationship, even though him and Mel are divorced. Um, they both are miserable. They both are miserable under the same roof. The excitement's not there anymore. Um, he misses his life. Martell misses his old life. And every time he's around Melody, he constantly gets reminded of it. He's constantly reminded. He knows that when Mel and his kids leave, they going home to a nice, big, beautiful home. He knows that um, Mel is going back to a comfortable space in which he can't disturb it. It frustrates him because he knows he has to go back to Air Mattress and try to find some normalcy, because that's his way of trying to comfort himself through the misery. Because, truth be told, I mean, I don't like how he's doing things, but at the same token, he can't sit around and wait on Mel forever. And if he had any good damn sense, he shouldn't be waiting on her at all. So he got to keep it moving. But the problem is, he'll always move physically, but he can't move on spiritually and mentally because he can't find any peace in the situation. And what he don't understand, if he repents to take accountability and sincerely apologize to Mel, and not just apologize, have actions that back it up, leave her alone, take care of the kids, stop talking greasy on her, then maybe God will give him some empathy and open one or two doors for him. But in the meantime, he's going to always keep up with Mel. He's going to always keep up with Mel until Mel gets a man that is not afraid or intimidated by Martell. We have to take a man that's very confident, that's about business, that's already kind of who has a strong sense of male intuition and knows what he's up against when he deals with Martell. Because Martell strikes me as the kind of person, if Mel did meet a nice guy and were to start a relationship and stuff like that, he probably start off really nice, like he's cool and he respects the guy. And then next thing we know, all of a sudden he's talking greasy about the man, or he's nitpicking about the man spending too much time with his kids and spending more time with his kids than him. And we all know he ain't crazy about his kids like that. He's going to find something sooner than later, unless he knows Melody is dealing with a full grown man that's not going to play with him, that's going to read right through him, that's not going to entertain the shenanigans. But I think that will probably that'll probably put the nail in the coffin for him. Now, that does not mean he's going to take it easy. Now, I didn't say that, but I think it at least dampen that hope of reconciliation. But I trust Mel. I know Mel has it under control. I know she's going to work it out. So we shall definitely see. But at this point, for Martell, it's going to continue to keep going downhill. And basically, he's not understanding. All of this is basically coming back on him for everything he has done to his wife and his children. And until he makes peace with God and himself, he's going to continue to self-destruct. So before y'all exit, please hit that like button. Let me know what y'all think below about my segment Word on the Curve. This is my first time doing so, including um, celebrity news or celebrity gossip with my main sermons or topic at hand. So I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work on definitely keeping it shorter. That way it does not cut in too much time with my sermons. So everything is a learning progress. So we're going to see how it goes. So before y'all leave, please hit that like button. Tell me, what do y'all think? Do y'all think now that Martell has been with Arion all this time, he's really seeing it's becoming more clear to him all of what he really lost? Do you also believe that it would take Mel to possibly get in another relationship, so Martell can, eliminate, exterminate this probability of them reconciling and getting back together? I mean, you would have thought when she dropped the name that would have been enough to let him know. So what do y'all think it's going to take for him to really understand that Mel is totally and officially done with him? Let me know, and then we'll chop it up. So anyway, y'all, I know this is relatively long, but y'all know I don't upload a lot, so that's why my content be relatively long, because I can't post every day. I got too many different hats coming on. So if it's long, bear with me. I know a lot of us got a short attention span. You can watch some of the video for 30 minutes to 45, shut it down, come back and watch the rest, because I know it's lengthy. A lot of people have a short attention span, and so do I, but this is the least I can do since I'm not uploading every single day. Also got to upload some content on my other channel for men and women, Mocha's Cafe de Paris, so you're welcome to subscribe over there as well too. I do content for men and women on that side. But anyway, y'all, it's been wonderful. I know it's been relatively long, but I appreciate y'all for hanging in there with me. And y'all have a good one. And until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye.